Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen. I'm a homeschool mom to two boys and it is finally here. I'm going to share with you our curriculum choices for 2021 to 2022 homeschool year. I'm super excited about this. This is not a video that I can make at the end of the previous year. I typically will wait until the last minute to purchase our homeschool curriculum because I guess I have serious FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, which by the way, I just recently found out what that means. No lie. I wait till the last minute because I want to make sure that I'm getting exactly what I want. It's the best fit. I still, even 8 years into homeschooling, will find myself spending hours and hours of needless time researching and looking at curriculum when I already know I'm going to go with what my gut instinct was in the first place, but it is what it is. So typically I will wait until like the end of July, beginning of August to make all my orders. We don't usually start our school year until after Labor Day anyway, so I have some time. However, there's so many more families homeschooling this year than like ever before, I believe, and I did not factor that. That's never been an issue in the past with me when I've ordered curriculum. I've never had to wait like a double amount of time than what it normally takes, and this year I did, and so I was a little stressed because some of the curriculum we got literally days before we started, like just before Labor Day, and so I didn't really get to get my eyes on it that much before we started. Thankfully, we had used it before. But note to self, I will need to order curriculum a little bit sooner next year because who knows, there might be even more people homeschooling next year, which is awesome, but I need to get my order in or I'm going to be waiting along with all the other last minute shoppers. All right, I'm not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right to it. So I'm going to basically kind of run you through how our day looks overall. So I'm gonna share with you our group work subjects because we do those together first and then the boys will go into their independent work. We've done that since we started homeschooling and it has just worked really well for us. So I'm gonna share with you what our day looks like pretty much every day from start to finish. So last year, I wanted to be very intentional about the boys being up to date on world news, and I wanted it to be something that we could discuss as a family and for them just to know how to find out what's going on in the world, how to form their own opinion about what's going on, and create just family discussion about it. So in that search, I went to a couple of homeschool Facebook groups, which was super helpful. I didn't even have to ask the question. I just used the search tool in those groups to search like news source for kids. My first thought was trying to find like maybe a magazine or a website to go to that would have like ideally a faith-based look on the news, just a good resource in general just for kids to kind of have an idea of what's going on in the world. And someone shared a YouTube channel actually called CNN 10. Now, I don't personally watch CNN for my news, so this is no plug or anything like that, but I watched it just myself before I introduced it to the boys for about a week, and I really liked it. I hesitate to say that it's not biased because we know that all news sources are biased, right? But I do believe that they do a pretty good job of staying neutral and just sharing the news and what's going on, and it's very quick. It's called CNN 10 because it's only 10 minutes. There's a quick recap, like maybe 3 to 4 minute recap at the beginning of world news, things that typically have happened within the past 24 hours. And then there's an introduction about something else that they can learn about, maybe something with history or science. We're typically learning about something else in regards to news that's going on. For example, just a few days ago, we watched the launch of the first civilian crew to go into space. So then, you know, that gets us talking about space and NASA and all the things that go along with that. So it's still world news, but you're learning about technology and other things like that. So we start our day, that's the first thing that we do, is watch CNN 10 together. And then from there, we might discuss the topic if you know, we take that day by day. If we're feeling into discussion, if we have some energy, then we'll discuss it. If not, we'll just move on to the next thing. But the important, and oftentimes we'll even come back to it later, like at dinner time when the whole family is together and we're just open for discussion about anything. We might pick it up then and talk about what we saw earlier this morning. Typically we will discuss it a little bit more later in the day because that's when we have the most energy. But the point is that it gets the news out there to them. They're learning. We're all learning something else about what's going on right now in current times. And we have found it to be very resourceful. Once we finish with CNN 10, we then transition to Bible. Now, I have two boys in 9th and 10th grade this year, and I really wanted to use a curriculum for this. I searched truly not a whole lot. I did a little bit of search on like teen boys devotional or teen boys Bible curriculum and, you know, words like that. And I didn't really find anything that I was super excited about or even looked appealing to us. So I stopped stressing about it and I just was like, look, let's just go to the source that will teach us the most about the Bible itself, and that is the Bible. So we are keeping it really simple as of now, and we're just reading out of the Bible, not following a curriculum, not following anything, literally just reading passages out of the Bible and then discussing them as we go. So we are reading through Proverbs right now, and it's been really great. We have not read that through as a family, and I'm really enjoying it, especially at the age that they're at, and it's been really cool. So we're simply just reading out of the Bible for our Bible. We may introduce something else later, but for now, we're simply just reading from the Bible for our Bible time. After Bible, we go into our elective. So the way I do electives is each month I will change the elective topic. So before we start school, I have a yearly calendar that I pull out, and each month I go through some subject that I want us to focus on that's outside of like core subjects. So for example, financial is usually in that topic. This year I am introducing entrepreneurship. I'm actually working on just making a curriculum for myself for the boys to use for that. Right now, because we kind of only had like half of a month, we're utilizing a book that we've had for a while. If you watched a previous video, it was in there. It's the Dangerous Book for Boys. Super, super cool book to have. And it just has a bunch of random, really cool things that boys would typically love. So for example, today we learned how to make knots, the 5 like most useful knots with rope. It was super cool. So we're just utilizing things out of that for September. So each month it changes. I plan to do a video just on how I choose my electives and what I'm specifically using for those months. So be looking for that. But again, after Bible, we go into electives, and then from there we go into Spanish. For Spanish this year, we are using Senora Goses? Senora Gos? Senora, it looks like Senora Goose to me when I first look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's Gose, G-O-S-E. Anyways, and I'm really liking it. We were previously using TalkBox Mom. We really like that. I still have a lot of the laminated sheets that they send. Those are super helpful in just using Spanish in everyday talk. I really like how they set that up. But we did find that when the boys transitioned to private school, and now, you know, we're homeschooling this year, but there's always a possibility that they may go to another school. I did want them to have a little bit more experience with a more structured curriculum where they would know how to conjugate verbs, take tests for Spanish if they needed to. I do believe that they could have gotten that with TalkBox Mom, but I also want to be very mindful of preparing them for transitioning them to a private or public school in the future in case that were to happen. We have no idea what our plans are for the next few years, but you know, that's a possibility. So I want to be prepared for that. So with that said, we're using Senora Goses. I know I'm butchering that name. I'm so sorry. It was Flip Flop Spanish. I believe that it's now called Spanish Genius. And basically what we do is we log into her website. I will AirPlay my laptop to our TV so we can all watch it together. And we will do, she has a vocab lab video for each lesson, and then she has an instructional video, and she has a booklet or PDF version that you can just download by the lesson. And we just follow along. We have found that it has been really great. I'm enjoying it. She also uses the Spanish Now book, which is really thick actually, but we've been going through it this week and I really like it. It also has audio clips, so you're listening to it as well as following along with the book. We're completing worksheets. We have activities to do. It's nice that we're all doing it together because we'll practice our vocabulary together, and then randomly throughout the day, I'll try to ask them questions in Espanol and have them answer. And it's just been really, really good. So far we are really loving Spanish. We are really loving Spanish Genius. So those are all of the subjects we do together as a group. And then from there, they will begin their independent subjects on their own. This year for math, we are using Sherman Math. Now, I've got to say, I really don't know why I was very hesitant to use this curriculum. I don't know if it was because it's all online, or when I briefly looked at a sample lesson, it just didn't jump out to me. But my best friend Donna suggested this. She has two boys, the exact same ages and grades as our two boys. They have tried pretty similar curriculum companies as us, and our boys are just super similar. So she said that they had switched to Sherman Math a year or two ago, I can't remember, and suggested that we check it out. She said her boys love it and that we should give it a shot. So I took her advice because one of my kiddos was struggling with math, and what we were using previously with Math UC, it worked for him for a while, and then we just kind of hit a block. And I personally love math, but I just wasn't able to help him. And it was overwhelming and very difficult. And I felt like we needed to make a change in order for him to be successful. So gave Sherman Math a try. We are only a couple of weeks into it, but I've got to tell you, both of the boys are thoroughly enjoying it. Like, they both say that the way it is taught is very understandable. It's lecture based. They can pause it, play, go back, play it again, which they could have done with Math UC, but it's structured completely different, and they feel confident in finishing lessons, which is what I want them to feel. Something else that I love about the Sherman Math is that because it's online, all of the grades are there, and I can very easily log in and view their grades. It also prompts them if they got a problem wrong. It gives them another chance to choose the correct answer, and the points system reflects that, and it also will show me how many times they guessed and how long it took them to find the correct answer. So let's say, for example, it was multiple choice and they chose C, and that wasn't the right answer, and then they just did A, D, B, like really fast, like they weren't trying. It would tell me like they got to the right answer after 4 tries in like less than 4 seconds. So then I would know, okay, clearly they weren't trying, like they were just trying to guess which one was right. So the timestamp, that's the word I was looking for. The timestamp is pretty cool. And it also will tell them like specifically what it is that they got that they're missing incorrectly. So if If part of the answer is right and part of it's incorrect, it will tell them that. And they'll get points awarded for what they did get correct, but have to figure out, how to correct what's incorrect. So all that to say, I really like the way it's set up. Honestly, I think what I didn't like about it was the website itself looks a little dated to me. So I would love to see it updated a bit. I think maybe that purely just the aesthetics is what kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, I don't know. But like I said, the boys are loving it. They're feeling confident in their lessons, confident to move forward to the next one. And that's ultimately what I want for them. So we're using Sherman Math and really enjoying it. For language arts, we are using The Good and the Beautiful High School 2. We have used The Good and the Beautiful before. It's been maybe 3 years ago. Yeah. Has it been 3 years? Yes, it has been 3 years. We used The Good and the Beautiful Language Arts 3 years ago. Look, not 2, 3. I really liked it. I like how it combines multiple subjects together. At the time, the boys were not a big fan. I'm really not sure why. I need to ask them that. I'm gonna guess maybe it had a lot of art that was not quite their speed. We're gonna go with that. However, this year, I think we're enjoying it a little bit more. I feel like it's very to the point and they are doing their unit. So let me go back. So the way the high school is set up is a little bit different than when we did the levels previously. So in the high school, they get a bunch of booklets. I don't have unit 1 because the boys are actually using it right now, but they get several unit booklets and they have about 14 days to finish each booklet. I love this about the high school course because it walks you through it in unit 1. It walks the student and the teacher through how to use their high school course. But I love that they encourage the student to plan ahead and figure out on their own how they need to break up their studies in order to fulfill and complete each unit within those 14 days. So the boys are using a planner on their own, which we haven't done before in our homeschool. And so they go before the start of each week and write down in their planner what they need to complete. So they're basically like mapping out what all they need to do in order to finish their unit. So each booklet is gonna have multiple subjects in it. They're going to do memorization, there's poetry, there's art, vocabulary, spelling, writing, geography, grammar. I mean, it's got so many subjects within it, and that is something that I, as a homeschool teacher, really appreciate because it saves, I don't know that I would say it saves time, but it saves money for sure without having to spend on a bunch of different curriculum. I just like that it's all condensed. And yeah, it does save time because when you're combining all that together, you're not having to spend, X amount of time on this, X amount of time and so forth, where, what would maybe take you an hour and a half could now take about 30 minutes because it's all intertwined. So I really like that. Along with the booklets, they also get this grammar and writing guide, which is really well done and just really goes over all of the grammar, punctuation, and usage that they're going to need. Adjectives, capitalization, commas, how to diagram sentences, like parts of speech, all the things that they're going to need. So this is a really good resource for them to use along with the curriculum. They also get a set of flashcards, which they're actually perforated for you to split in half. We just haven't done that yet. So they will fold and break apart. But these are for their poetry memorization and their geography. So they're pretty much like flashcards where you have like, that's upside down, the continents, and then they would need to, everything's upside down, and then they would need to label them. So these are super helpful and we often do these together. One last thing that you get with the high school set are the books. So they actually have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, they actually have 5 books. Again, the first one is Men of Iron that they're reading right now, so I don't have that one with me. But I love that in the course set, they send you the books as well. You don't have to order those separately. And I really like that. I will say that the books with the good and the beautiful are very pure. So if you're looking for a curriculum that will not include any profanity in the books, this is the one for you. Personally, that does not bother us at all. In fact, I might even add some other books for the boys to read on top of their curriculum. I don't know, I'm still debating on that. But if that is a bigger issue for you and a stronger conviction maybe of your family, then you may really enjoy the good and the beautiful. You can purchase, I want to say that they have a whole library of books. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure. I will look, and if they do, I'll try to link that below. But I believe even if you don't use their curriculum, you could just buy their reading books, and all of them have been edited to not include any profanity. So again, if that's something you're interested in, you might want to check them out for their reading books. This year, instead of history specifically, we are doing government, American government. This was a subject that I don't think the boys were too excited about until we started their curriculum. We are using Patriot Academy. Specifically, the course that we're doing is called A Republic If You Can Keep It. And we did the intro lesson together, and I'm not gonna lie, like, we all were just like, we loved it. It is, there's a video with just about every lesson, and the videos are well done. And the boys, like, that's been the first subject that they will do when it comes to their independent subjects because they enjoy it that much. It's very informative. It's very well done. It keeps their attention. And even doing the intro course with them, like, it was super exciting for me. I learned a lot that I had no idea about just in the introduction. So honestly, I would like to kind of go through the course myself as an individual. But yeah, definitely that was another suggestion from my friend Donna. Thanks, Donna. I had not heard of Patriot Academy. I had not heard of the website or any of their courses. They have a lot more than just A Republic If You Can Keep It. So I'm definitely going to be checking out more of what they offer, but that, again, that is the one we're using for American government, and it is fantastic. Highly, highly recommend that you check that one out. For science, we are using Dive Biology. So this is the same website as Sherman Math. If I understand correctly, they're all under Dive. Like, Dive is the name of the site or the company, and then they offer science and math courses, which is really convenient because they just log into their Dive account and their science and math are under their courses. So it's nice that they have that one place to go for those two subjects. But we're doing biology, you guys. Last year we did Apologia Physical Science. I have loved Apologia Elementary series. We loved their science courses. Once we got out of the elementary series, however, we were not huge fans. And it wasn't the book, it wasn't the curriculum, it's still structured the same way. It was just, I don't know, it was a lot of reading for me. It was a lot of reading for the boys and not a lot of supplemental things that really would catch their attention. And I just don't enjoy reading and teaching science. I love and appreciate science and God's creation, but it's just not my particular subject. And so, you know, if I'm lacking it and I'm the one teaching it and I'm like not really sure, and physical science had a ton of equations. Oh my gosh, so much math. But I had no other resource to help. Like, we would go through the course book and like, I have no idea if I'm doing this right. Like, it was just a hot mess. It was a hot mess. So I was like, no, we are finding an online source for science because I cannot teach you guys this subject again because I will fail you. And so then in researching that, came across the Dive Science. Actually, before Donna had even mentioned the math to me, I already was planning on doing the biology through Dive. So it just worked out perfectly that the Sherman Math was through the same website. But anyways, we're using biology. I wouldn't say that the boys are super excited about it, but I do think that they appreciate that they're being taught more so than just read to, you know, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I was just reading it to them. I wasn't really able to teach them because it didn't even make sense to me. And now they're being taught that, like, the person leading them is making sense. And they're able to actually learn the why behind what they're learning. So far, yeah, we are fans of, I guess, really everything that Dive puts out there. They've done a really, really good job. I just would love to see an updated website. That's the only thing. Other than that, loving it. Okay, the last independent subject that we have right now is typing. And we are using The Good and the Beautiful for typing again. Now, we actually did this typing course 3 years ago when we did the language arts through The Good and the Beautiful. So this typing course is actually for like early elementary. It's typing 1. However, they did not do typing of any kind since 3 years ago and got into a really bad habit of like pecking with their fingers and looking at the keyboard. And so we're going back to the basics and using the typing 1 to just reinforce not looking at the keyboard, learning, you know, where the fingers should be on the keyboard, where the keys are without looking at them. So we're gonna do typing 1 and hopefully transition into typing 2, probably through The Good and the Beautiful. I really like that it's not an online course. I like that it's just, you know, they have this like right next to their computer. It's like propped up onto something like an easel, and they're typing, they're looking at it while they're typing. I really like that. We have used, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but we used an online course that was like games based, you know, because they're into like video games and stuff. And it just, I don't even remember the name of it, but it was just no bueno. We weren't fans of it, or I wasn't a fan of it, and we didn't stick with it. So yeah, we're using typing 1 from The Good and the Beautiful. Probably going to transition into typing 2 by January, February is the goal. So that is our curriculum choices for 2021 to 2022 school year. I do plan on doing a video on our electives specifically, go a little bit more in depth on how I choose our electives, how I plan them out, what I'm using. It's super simple in my brain at least, but super useful because that's where I get to really throw in the things that you don't necessarily learn in school, like finances and budgeting, that are so critically important for our kids to know once they're out of our home. And so I want to use this time that I have with them to equip them with as much as I can for their success in the future. So a video on our electives is coming. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not already, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, and hang out around here because I have some videos coming up that I'm really excited about that I don't want you to miss. All right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Poetry members, nope, I don't want to say that.